Reading is hardcore, and that it takes so long to read these texts aloud is a really sort of powerful reminder of the ways in which time spent reading is often invisible, and yet when read aloud for hour after hour, person after person, one, that it takes a community to read these long books aloud, but two, just how intense it is and how sustained activity like this is really intense. I like that it foregrounds the physical nature of reading, that these are bodies coming to and from the microphone or the podium, right? That reading is not just a sort of Cartesian brain in a vacuum, like as if we existed outside of the world that we physically inhabit while reading aloud. And it's really powerful to be reminded how the gathering together around a particular book not just brings us together, but exposes that we've been together all along.
It's such a great way to bring the UCLA community, the LA community together around our shared love of literature. After all these hours as like students of literature that we spend alone, we actually get to come together and read together and realize that like this love of literature is something that a lot of people have.
We work really hard here at UCLA to get together communities of scholars and communities of teachers. I think this is our broadest casting of the net to create a community here at UCLA, and we get not only our undergraduates involved, but we get folks from our alumni and all across the city. So I think it's a wonderful both outreach and community builder.
I'm excited because it goes through the night and people come out and camp, and we're gonna have lights and it's gonna be a nice venue, so come out.
I think it's cool too because it used to be like kind of a very big like tradition for UCLA, and like I'm really excited to kind of be a part of that kind of tradition again and like get people come out and like have a huge turnout because I think it's gonna be something really awesome.
Yeah. And I think besides community, one of the things I really appreciate about this year is that it's about including a multiplicity of voices. You're looking at a classical piece of literature from another perspective, and I think the timeliness of it is so important. So being able to approach that from a community of UCLA students' perspective is going to be really good for, I think, our English major, but also for ourselves as we grow in our understanding.
Yeah.
So it helps us remember the joy and the delight of listening to literature, hearing it read. Most of us read silently, and when we do read, it's in a classroom environment that's relatively formal. Obviously, it's a kind of performance art, but it's also deeply supple and improvisational, and anything can happen. Even the mistakes are interesting. When the mistakes happen, people get lost in a passage or whatever. But nevertheless, the novel keeps going. And I think that collaborative spirit is really important.
It also brings together undergraduates and graduate students and faculty and staff. So it's a really great way for our huge English department to really get together and share in what we love, which is literature.
I think a marathon reading it's a social practice. It's a performative social practice that not only does it give visibility to literature, right, and all that literature does in terms of like promoting empathy, modeling like people's interiority that are much different than us and from different historical periods than us. But it's also a communal experience. Academia could be very isolating, and I think a marathon reading helps us realize that it doesn't have to be isolating.
Two things come together in a reading marathon: the enjoyment of hearing works of literature and the magic of speaking works of literature, the magic of the heard word and its sounds, and then the enjoyment of the books that come together. The reading marathon is a place where people who don't really know about the structure of literature, the history of literature, the analysis of literature, all the stuff that gets fronted in the classroom, can also enjoy what we share in the classroom, which is the enjoyment of literature.
I really love the marathon reading because it's a really chill event, because since it's going all day, you have tons of opportunities to swing by. What I really recommend is if you have like a break between classes or right after you finish class, like if you wanted to grab a snack or grab lunch or something, you can just get your food. Since it's an outdoor event, you can just come sit on the grass, sit on a bench, and have your lunch and like listen to people reading.